That is the news that Ryan was talking about. Kerryon Johnson looks really good in practice. Looks like he could be ready to go real soon as perhaps next week, and playing the final 2 games. And I understand people are up in arms with the thought of that because it's one of 2 reasons. A, you think that Kerryon Johnson's really good and you don't want to risk him to an injury in the last 2 meaningless games. And 2, they're afraid that he's really good and that he could be the difference maker that allows the Lions to win any of those last 2 games and cost them draft position. I get it. I understand both of those arguments. I don't think he's that integral piece to this team. Stafford is. I don't think Kerryon Johnson is. I mean, look at all the other players that are healthy and are playing. I mean, I get you want to tank, but you're not putting Trey Flowers on the IR. You're not putting Darius Slay on the IR. Kenny Galladay's not on IR. Those guys mean a hell of a lot more to this team right now than Kerryon Johnson does. I don't mean to slight Kerryon Johnson. I was excited as anybody else last year when he was playing. He was great last year. Then he got hurt. Came back healthy this year. Not so great. 3.3 yards a carry, 50 yards a game, and only played in 6 games. I don't think it's that big of a deal. To the Karsch and Anderson inbox. Are you serious, Gator? Why play Kerryon when the only thing that benefits the Lions is losing? You risk injuring him or having him go off and accidentally win you a game. Either is awful. All right, let me play this game. Looking at what Kerryon Johnson's done this year, which isn't much, and looking at what Bo Scarborough has done this year, which isn't much, but you know what it is? It's a lot better than what Kerryon's done. He's averaged almost a full yard per carry more than Kerryon Johnson. Which hurts the team more in terms of giving your team a chance to win? Playing Bo Scarborough or playing Kerryon Johnson based on what they've done this year? Right? So I don't understand. I mean, I understand it. I just don't agree with the logic that goes the other way. I think there's more logic in going ahead and using it to play. Tiff is in Ferndale. Tiff, welcome 97.1 The Ticket.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So I was telling, is it Evan?
Not Evan. No.
I can't remember the name. I'm sorry. But you guys, everybody talks about tanking like in basketball and hockey, not baseball so much, but do we really trust Patricia and Quinn to pick up the right person?
Well, that's a whole different argument because I don't trust Matt Patricia, and I'm not sure if I trust Bob Quinn. My question to Bob Quinn in the offseason would be, are you going to fire Matt Patricia? And if he says no, then I would fire Bob Quinn. And if he says, yes, I'm going to fire Matt Patricia, then I would say, okay, what's your plan moving forward? And then I'd base it off of that. But if he wants to bring Matt Patricia back, no, I don't think either should be back.
Well, no, but my question is, we talk about tanking and what opportunities it opens for us, but we have people in those positions that we can't trust to take advantage of those opportunities. No,
I understand what you're saying, Tiff. And my point is that I don't know if those guys are going to be here or not next year. I don't think Patricia's going to be here next year. I think he's done as the head coach of the Lions. When the season's over with,
and make sure she does a good draft pick?
Well, look, you can't guarantee anything in the draft, and thanks for the call. You can't guarantee anything. If the Lions lose out and the Giants lose out, guess what? The Lions lose out on Chase Young. And that's really what we're hoping for. We're hoping the Lions get the second pick overall so they can get Chase Young, is really what this all comes down to. Because after that, you can make a case for any other position out there. Depending on who's going to be ahead of the Lions that they pick. If the Lions pick 5th overall and, Young's gone the second pick, Burrow's gone the first pick, and then you've got the Dolphins ahead of them, they're going to take Tua Tagovailoa. There are plenty of players out there that could help this team. There's defensive backs. There's other defensive linemen are available. There's offensive linemen that are available. There's wide receivers. There's a lot of players that can help this team next year.
This is probably a question I'm going to ask later on when we get closer to the draft. But if the Lions don't finish with the second overall pick, would you move up to the second overall pick? What would you give up to make sure you get Chase Young. It's a bold move, but if you know that's the guy, and there's a gap between Chase Young and everybody else, right?
Vontae Mack, no matter what.
Exactly. But there's a clear gap where, I don't want to reach for this guy at 4 or 5 or 6, right?
Yep.
I know if I have the number 2 overall pick, I'm getting Chase Young. Would you do that? Because odds are, yes, Chase Young will go. It's a position of need for the Giants. He's looks like a player that could be, one of those transcending players, a franchise player. So the Giants probably wouldn't pass on him unless you made him an offer they couldn't refuse.
Yeah, and I guess, my gut tells me right now I wouldn't do that because I think there are other players that I think Okudah, the cornerback for Ohio State, is outstanding. I think Simmons, the linebacker, safety from Clemson, is outstanding. The defensive tackle from Auburn, Derek Brown, is outstanding.
Outstanding enough to take at 5 overall?
Yeah.
Simmons was mocked at 18 the last draft?
Yeah,
but
it's
one draft, and it's way early. I get it. But let's say he mocks out when it gets closer.
Well, then he goes off the list, and you find somebody else that can go on the list. I think there are a bunch of players that I could take at 5 and be comfortable with without moving up to take Chase Young. I like Chase Young a lot.
And by the way, just because you can't guarantee yourself the number 2 overall pick doesn't mean you shouldn't want the Lions to continue to lose, because whether they get the 3rd or 4th or 5th pick, you don't know what happens in the draft.
No, you don't.
This is a quarterback-heavy draft where the number 2 team might trade out of that spot because someone wants Herbert or Fromm or Tua, right? If Burrow goes 1. And that moves Chase Young down a slot. And you never know. It might move down one more slot. I don't expect a Josh Allen-type slide like last year. But the draft is unpredictable.
No, you never know. And at this point, everybody seems to think it's Burrow and Chase Young 1 and 2, but you don't know.
You don't know for sure.
You don't know for sure. But the thing that's most important to me is losing as many games as possible to secure the best draft pick you have. It's probably not going to be 2nd overall, but I want the highest pick in every round of the draft. We always focus on the first round, but to me, that 2nd round pick is so important as well, because you've got all this first round talent that you thought was going to go in the first round, and lo and behold, there's a half dozen guys you thought for certain were going to go in the top 20 of the first round, and they didn't go, and they're available to you in the 2nd round. You're drafting 3rd overall in the 2nd round, you've got a great shot to land one of those guys. So I totally understand the importance of draft positioning. I'm starting to get frustrated with fans insisting that Kerryon Johnson is this can't miss piece that has to be off the team for the rest of this year to ensure that you get that pick, when the guy who's playing running back right now has been more productive than Kerryon Johnson was. They've gotten more production out of Bo Scarborough and J.D. McKissick than they did out of Kerryon Johnson. So, people are upset, but I think if you think about it a little more, you'd understand that maybe you'd come around to thinking that it's not that big of a deal if he plays next week. Again, if he's got this lingering injury, if it's not completely healed, then why on earth would they have had him practicing at this point? Then by all means, sit him out. But that's not the case. 248-539-9797 is the telephone number. You're in the camp where you would bring him back, Kerryon Johnson, after next week, so he played the last 2 weeks, or would you say no, sit him out the rest of the season? As well at 97136. You can call us at 248-539-9797. This is 97.1 The Ticket.